The Song of the Baobab Tree. Long ago, in a village on the edge of an enchanted forest in West Africa, there lived a boy named Kofi. Kofi was known for his love of stories and his dream of becoming a great storyteller, just like his grandfather, Baba Kwame. Every evening, under the glow of the setting sun, the villagers would gather to listen as Baba Kwame told tales of wonder and wisdom. Kofi, his eyes wide with wonder, would sit beside his grandfather, listening to every word. One story always stood out to Kofi more than the rest, the tale of the great Baobab tree, which stood deep in the forest, taller than any other tree. According to Baba Kwame, the great Baobab was ancient and wise, and it held the secrets of the ancestors. It was said that the tree would sometimes sing, and that only those pure of heart could hear its song. Anyone who heard it would be blessed with wisdom and protection. But one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Baba Kwame grew ill. His voice weakened, and his once bright eyes lost their spark. The villagers were worried. They gathered around him, but none knew how to help. The village healer examined him and said, "There is a rare herb, deep in the forest, near the great Baobab tree. It is the only thing that can heal Baba Kwame." Kofi's heart ached. He couldn't bear the thought of losing his beloved grandfather. That night, as the village fell asleep, Kofi made a decision. He would go to the forest alone and find the herb to save Baba Kwame. At dawn, Kofi set off, his courage stronger than his fear. The villagers watched as he disappeared into the shadows of the forest, whispering prayers for his safe return. The forest was a place of mystery and magic, filled with creatures and spirits that only the bravest dared to face. As he ventured deeper, the forest grew darker, and strange sounds surrounded him. A bird with bright red feathers swooped down and landed on a branch above him. "Kofi," it chirped, "you seek the great Baobab tree, but you must prove your worth before reaching it. The forest will test you." Kofi nodded, understanding that he must be brave and wise if he wanted to save his grandfather. He continued through the forest until he came upon a small stream, where he saw an old tortoise struggling to cross. Without hesitation, Kofi lifted the tortoise and carried it across. The tortoise looked up at him and said, "Thank you, young one. Kindness is a powerful gift. You are one step closer to your journey's end." Kofi walked for hours, and as the sun set, he felt the shadows grow thicker around him. Suddenly, he heard a rustling behind him and turned to see a fierce leopard with glowing green eyes. The leopard blocked his path, growling low and steady. Kofi's heart pounded, but he remembered the courage of the heroes in Baba Kwame's stories. Summoning his strength, he bowed to the leopard and said, "I do not seek to harm, nor do I come with fear. I am here to find healing for my grandfather." The leopard's growl softened, and it stepped aside. "You have courage, young one. Continue on your path," it said, and disappeared into the forest. As night fell, Kofi finally reached a clearing where the great Baobab tree stood. It was magnificent, its trunk was as wide as a house, and its branches seemed to touch the stars. Kofi was in awe. He stepped closer, but before he could reach it, he heard a soft cry. There, tangled in a thorn bush, was a small bird. Its wings were caught, and it struggled helplessly. Kofi knew he was close to the herb that could save his grandfather, but he couldn't ignore the bird's suffering. Carefully, he freed the bird from the thorns, speaking softly to calm it. As the bird flew free, a gentle wind rustled through the branches of the great Baobab tree, and Kofi heard a sound like a deep, ancient song. The tree was singing, a melody of wisdom and comfort that filled the air with peace. Kofi closed his eyes, letting the song flow through him, feeling the warmth and love of the ancestors. When he opened his eyes, he saw a small cluster of leaves growing at the base of the tree, the rare herb he needed. Grateful, Kofi gathered the herb and bowed to the great Baobab tree, thanking it for its blessing. With the herb in hand, Kofi returned to the village under the starlit sky. The villagers welcomed him back with cheers and relief. The healer quickly prepared the remedy, and soon Baba Kwame's strength began to return. His eyes brightened, and his voice grew strong once again. Kofi shared the story of his journey, telling of the kindness he showed, the courage he found, and the wisdom he gained. He told of the great Baobab tree's song, a song he would carry with him always. From that day on, Kofi was known not only as a storyteller but as a keeper of the ancestors' wisdom. And each night, as he sat beside his grandfather under the stars, he remembered the lessons of the great Baobab tree, the song of kindness, courage, and the wisdom of the heart.